Hey everybody, my name is Brian, and I got a special guest today to share with y'all. Welcome to the Popcast. Hello, Ken. Hello, Iron Man, Andre, Archmage, everyone I'm missing. There's a lot of you guys. So check it out. I got a special guest today. I don't know if you guys know him, but he is turning into a good friend of mine. I literally met him last week, but I've been following his content for a very long time, and I got a little stinger just for him. Welcome to Ping Pong FLIX. What's up, brother?
How you doing, Brian? How you doing?
Not
Thanks
bad.
for that stinger. Wow, that's cool. That's probably way better than anything I would have done.
I'll send it to you, bro. Yeah, this is Chris with Ping Pong FLIX. I've actually been following him for a while because he is like the DC man. This guy knows everything about DC, and the recent shakeup over at Warner Brothers, I found his content and I reached out to him. So, welcome to the show, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, DC movies per se, but yeah, I do watch some shows here and there, but mostly the movies. And yeah, like you said, the shakeup is just shaking everybody up. I mean, the fans are all like, what is going on?
Right.
What is going on with our universe? Is there a universe? Who knows? Who's the DC film head? All that good stuff.
Yeah. What's your impressions with the new CEO, David Zaslav?
I take it he seems to be a very like a straightforward guy. I would say he's kind of like, I know someone, and I don't know if he's here, but mentioned that he's kind of like the Godfather. You know, he doesn't take any, like the whole thing about him talking to the execs and saying that, why did you greenlight this Clint Eastwood movie? And they're like, well, it's Clint Eastwood, and you know, we're helping him out, he helps us out, we help him. He's like, no, this is not show friends, this is show business.
Right.
And so when I heard that, I'm like, oh, this guy he doesn't give a, you know, he doesn't care about loyalty and all this kind of things.
Right.
He's not a care about people giving favors. He cares about the business. He cares about the numbers. And so I knew when hearing that, I'm like, oh, it's going to be a different outlook. And then when he brought in Alan Horn, who was instrumental in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm like, okay, that's the direction they're gonna go into. So it's a new age.
Yeah, sure. And that's a big deal too. Like Alan Horn, he's a legend.
He's a legend. Yeah,
a legend.
Yeah, literally. Yeah,
the guy knows what he's doing.
Studios. Yeah, it's incredible. He went from Warner Brothers to Disney, and he's back at Warner Brothers again. Well, as a consultant, but you know that he could sway. He has a lot of sway. So
right, and he's been successful at it. So yeah, I thought for a long time that we really needed like a guiding hand over at DC, and specifically we needed an executive that didn't really worry about all the social nonsense and all that, and just wanted to make really good stories, because it's short-sighted to believe. First off, Twitter is not a real place. It's an it's an imaginary place, right?
Yeah.
So like making content specifically for like this tiny percent of the world on Twitter is just a bad move from a business perspective, and it makes it so you really can't build a franchise out of anything. You can't build a franchise that way. And I would argue that actually Marvel is starting to go down that route, and they're making mistakes. And I remember leaving the Endgame. I remember leaving the movie Avengers Endgame, and I remember turning to my wife and being like, "You know, that's the last great superhero movie we're ever gonna see.
That's the highest point for Marvel. Like,
yeah, that's the pinnacle. That's the peak." And it was to be honest, it was glorious. It was amazing. To this day I get chills when I hear when the portal opens and he's grabbing his shield and it's like on your left. Oh my God, you gotta understand that I was opening night, the crowd lost it. There were people getting up and cheering. It was like a boxing event or something. It was nuts. I have never seen an audience respond that way Honestly, since watching the Michael Myers movie where like Freddy's hand came up and grabbed the mask. I remember that.
Oh,
Remember that like a long time ago, before there were cross platforms, before movies like cross franchises.
Yeah.
I remember that scene where he died and like all of a sudden you see Freddy's hand pop up and grab his mask, and the audience were shocked. It was like insane. I remember that, and like the reaction for Endgame for a scene that we all knew was coming was incredible. So that was like their peak. DC has this unique opportunity, and we're going to get into it, but they have a unique opportunity to actually take their own space in this space. Like they can actually take over, because Marvel has reached its peak and now it's on the decline. And most of the content coming out of Marvel is just not great, which we're going to talk about, because like the She-Hulk stuff, we're going to talk about that first episode, and it's not rough. So real quick, I'll let you talk. Let me just tell everybody what we're doing today. We are going to talk about the first episode of She-Hulk. Boy, there's some cringe moments there. It is rough, man. Hard watch. It's entertaining though. We're going to be talking about Jonathan Kent to be recast for Superman and Lois ahead of season 3. And that's actually news because of why he's being recast. It's actually sort of a big deal. And the new Addams Family trailer came out, and I gotta say, I never thought I would be talking about Addams Family on this channel, but holy crap, this show looks amazing. If my brother was here right now, he'd be like, "Why are we talking about Addams Family?" But dude,
right.
Also
Tim Burton,
Tim Burton, right? Yeah. And Ortega's. We're gonna get into it. Also, we learned more about the pitch for Strange New Worlds. So when they were actually pitching Strange New Worlds to Paramount, the pitch was deceptively simplistic, and that's the best term I can give it for it. And we're going to be talking about every DC movie and show from Warner Brothers being canceled and or is probably safe. And Peacemaker's on that list, thank God. And Dwayne Johnson wants a DCEU and MCU crossover. It seems like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wants everything.
He wants to be the guy.
It's like he just discovered like nerd stuff, and he's like, I want to do it all. I want to do all the nerd stuff. But you know what? It's awesome. Like, okay. I think there was actually a comic where that happened. But we're going to get into all that and more on the Popcast with Ping Pong FLIX. So let's check out the chat real quick. Let's see who's talking. Michelle, welcome. Mexican Iron Man, my boy. What's up, Mikey? Andre Anderson, Archmage Phrase, Michael Latoon, Marshall, Kenneth the Roke. Hey, guys, we also have a member section. Let me just pull it up real quick, because I always forget to pull up the members section. So if you guys don't know how this works, just in case you haven't been here before, or if you're watching this after the fact, which most of you do, we have two parts to the show. We do 3 of our topics in this section, which is the main section, but there's a simultaneous stream happening to our members section, and that will continue on for an additional 3 more topics. Only members will get that. And then later on next week, eventually those topics will filter their way onto the secondary channel. Okay. All right, my friend. So we're just going to jump right into it, I guess. You know what? Real quick, though, let everyone know, because like even though there's not a whole lot of people on right now, there are a lot more people watch this after the fact. So let people know where to find you, just in case. And I'll put the link in the description, too, before I forget that.
Yeah, sure. Just find me on YouTube at Ping Pong FLIX, and on Twitter. I think I only do Twitter now for my social media at Ping Pong FLIX. So really easy. Ping Pong FLIX.
Yeah.
FLIX with an X, not CK. Some people type that out, but yeah.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, here's an endorsement coming from me. Chris is very concise and to the point. There isn't a whole bunch of flashing images. There isn't like crazy, Roblox characters running onto the screen and screaming at you. He gives you correct information. he gives you, he gives you his take on it, but he's also like very direct. It's like, honestly, when it comes to DC news, I have found more of my enjoyment and my entertainment comes from watching your channel for DC than actually looking it up, because I know you're going to give me the correct information. I trust your source, and it's to the point, and then I get a healthy opinion on it too, which is nice. So if you like DC, man, this is the guy.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Also Power Rangers, which I've never watched before, but
yeah, more Power Ranger news coming next week. Apparently,
are they doing like a Netflix thing now?
Yeah, so they're with Netflix, and supposedly all of them shows are going to Netflix, but there are a lot of seasons that you can actually watch for free on YouTube by their own Power Rangers account. But they are trying to do a new mature series over on Netflix. So I'm looking forward to that. And according to Hasbro, there's going to be some news next week on Power Week, what they're calling it, starting the 22nd to 26th and 28th. And so looking forward to it.
Wow. All right. A mature Power Rangers. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not going to be like some raunchy stuff happening there.
So we're not going to see
we never know, but
we're not going to see the pink Power Ranger just like going to town on the yellow Power Ranger or whatever.
Green Ranger's going down on her. No,
that's really unfortunate. I don't know how. I'm pretty sure those parodies exist somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
Rule 34. If it exists, there's probably a pornographic version of it. I'm almost positive there's a pornographic version of the Popcast. I've gotten some weird Popcast emails. Okay, man.
OnlyFans, right? No.
Oh, we actually, I do have an OnlyFans. I have an onlyfans.com/the Klingon Warrior. I have not finished publishing yet, but I plan to. I'm not joking. I've been saying this as a joke for like 5 years.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be like, since OnlyFans came out, I've been joking about this, but I'm actually doing it. I'm putting up a Klingon Warrior OnlyFans. If you guys don't know what Klingon Warriors are, I'm not sure why you're on this channel, but basically they're aliens from Star Trek that are very warlike and grotesque, and they speak like kapla, and they have giant swords. And I have a photo shoot coming up where I am in full Klingon makeup, the whole thing, the prosthetics and everything. And I'm wearing a thong, and I have a bat lip, and I'm doing this whole Klingon Warrior shoot for OnlyFans, and everyone thinks I'm joking, but this is legitimately happening. And it's not going to make a penny. It's not going to make any money whatsoever, but it's going to be something on the internet forever.
You never know. People, there are fans out there like, I want to see some Klingon action in that sense. You never know. There's always something for everybody.
Yeah, the funny thing is, like, according to canon, like actual like Star Trek canon, Klingons have 2 penises. So in the thong I'm wearing, I have 2 bulges. And in order to achieve that effect, it was I had to get these little like those baseball cups, you know what I mean?
So not only that's accurate to the canon, that's amazing.
That's what we do here. We are always canon accurate. David Nonia says, I have a fetish for the Duras sisters. Listen, David. Everyone has a fetish for the Duras sisters. Okay, just so you know, that's a very common thing. All right. All right, let's jump into the She-Hulk review. Speaking of a Klingon warrior, it's a good segue. All right, we are talking about She-Hulk. The very first episode dropped Wednesday night or Thursday morning, however you want to look at it. And I had a chance to watch it, and I'm going to give you a quick take on it because everyone's talking about it, and there are multiple camps here. There are people that are like, oh, yeah, this is great. This is a return to form for Marvel, which I thoroughly disagree with. And there's the other take where they're like, oh, this is feminist garbage, which I also disagree with. I actually think that both extreme versions of this show are incorrect. I believe this show is trying to accomplish something that is original to She-Hulk and very, very She-Hulk-like if you look at the old comics. And the people that are complaining about She-Hulk being super feminist and woke, you haven't read the comics, you know, because that character is she's very much like her character. They went overboard in some regards, but it's not as bad as the extremists are saying it is, and it's not as good as the other extremists are saying it is. But we're gonna get into it just a little bit because I don't want to be left out of the conversation about She-Hulk. Okay. Plus, I have a fetish for green chicks. So if you've been on this channel before, you know I love me some Orion slave girls. So let's chat about this real quick. All right, so this is She-Hulk, and at the risking copyright strikes here, I'm not going to play the actual thing, but we open up into a lawyer's office, very Ally McBeal-like. If you guys ever watched the '90s show Ally McBeal or Boston Legal or The Practice, etc. We're on that. This is a lawyer show, but she stops at one moment and she turns and looks at the camera and she breaks the fourth wall, which I like. Now, let me adjust your camera, which I like because that is exactly what she did in the comics. She often addressed the actual audience, like the reader. So it's very, very, very much like the comics. And she goes, "Listen, I'm actually a Hulk." That's what, because one of the characters references her Hulk-like abilities. I am a Hulk, and let me tell you that story so I can get into this boring lawyer show. And she's basically says exactly what the audience is thinking. Like, why are we watching a lawyer show that we should be watching superhero stuff right now, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. And we're gonna fast forward to that. So what happens is she's in the car. She's in the car with Bruce. Bruce has this device on his arm. It's some special device that allows him to stay in human form. So all those people wondering how he was in human form, that's how. He invented a device that's specific to his DNA. Right. Now, I had one question here. Why is his arm still on a sling?
Yeah, so he hasn't healed since Endgame? Like,
he hasn't healed. Yeah, so he mentioned something about how now that he's in his human form, his arm is starting to heal or something. But I'm like,
the Hulk would heal faster, right?
Yeah, I don't fully understand that.
Yeah,
I feel like they should have just taken the arm out of the sling and been done with that. That was like a weird story point that's just sort of confusing.
Do they mention how long has it been since Endgame till you see him in?
It's been a couple years.
Couple years. Wow.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to that too. He's actually like still in like a Tony Stark facility.
Oh.
So this is the interesting part. So the character She-Hulk, she is fascinated with the virginity of Captain America, and she's asking him, how is it possible that he's, that he had sex? He didn't have time to, and it's a travesty that this American hero never got laid, and Bruce is like, you know what you're talking about. He got laid. It's fine. But she is really obsessed with like this question of whether or not Captain America got laid, which is, it's sort of funny, but it's also, I feel, drawn out. Like they keep dragging this question out. It should have been a throwaway joke. It shouldn't be like a constant joke.
Yeah.
Also, one quick note of fun note is she's eating Flaming Hot Cheetos with chopsticks, and I want to be clear, she didn't invent that. I've been eating Flaming Hot Cheetos with chopsticks for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about how she invented this. That's not. If you live in California or Mexico or Hawaii or any of the coastal areas, when it comes to Flaming Hot Cheetos, the only right way to eat them is with chopsticks.
A chopstick. I've eaten without. It doesn't have to be Flaming Hot Cheetos, just regular Cheetos, because you don't want to get all that grime on your fingers. So.
Yeah, for me specifically Flaming Hots, because if I don't, it looks like I got in a fight and lost. My hands are red.
Red.
All right, so the car gets accosted by an alien spaceship, because of course, and because he's in human form, he gets hurt and his blood gets in her system, and that's how she becomes Hulk. And spoiler alerts here, guys. I'm not sure. We're gonna run past all this. She becomes the Hulk. She hulks out, and we're gonna skip right here to the end. Now there's this scene. This is the scene a lot of people are talking about. It's very woke. She goes into this bar. She doesn't remember what happened, and all of a sudden she's like immediately accosted by a group of men. Like, hey, what's up, baby? How you doing? Hey, girl, where you going? I'm like, first off, what is this, 1973? I don't know anyone that is just like randomly accosting women outside of bars like this anymore. It was definitely over the top. But it allowed her to turn into the Hulk and sort of,
yeah, it's a plot point. Yeah,
right. Now let's skip ahead a little bit. She figuring out that she's the Hulk. Bruce Banner takes over to Mexico where he has this Tony Stark facility and he starts training her. And this is when it gets a little bit gnarly. First off, she is able to hold her form, change her form at will. She can literally change in and out of the Hulk at will. Not when she gets mad, not when she's in danger, whatever. She can literally snap her fingers, not literally, like she's just like, oh, I'm going to be the Hulk or I'm not going to be the Hulk. I'm going to be the Hulk or I'm not going to be the Hulk. She's basically in complete control over her Hulk form, and she has complete all of her normal knowledge. There's no dual personality. There is literally no downside to her affliction, and she got these powers yesterday.
Wow,
that's a problem. I know that there is some consistency here with the comic books, but you have to understand the comic books might have fast forwarded her origin story a bit because of who she was, because of the Hulk. But there should have been a little more downside here, and the Hulk, Bruce Banner even says it. He's like, I'm not entirely. I'm a little jealous that you just like instantly have these abilities and this control over this character. And she fights with him because he's like, you need to stay here and learn more about yourself. And it's just, it got really weird. It started off fine. And when they immediately fast-tracked her into being like in complete control of her faculties, her abilities, and everything, it was weird. And here's the problem. The explanation was even worse. Because what she said was that the reason she has complete control over her emotions and her Hulk abilities and her form and all that is because she's a woman.
That was her. That was her
official response, was that because she's a woman and she has to deal with this anger and rage all the time, and that if she doesn't control it, that she'll be murdered in the street by raving lunatic of men or something. Basically, she said, like, if I don't control it, I can be killed in the street by a man. And you're like, okay, what are you talking about? What year is this? Like, is this 1638 in Rome? Like, I don't understand. Like, this is not. This is 2022, right? Like, I'm not a time traveler. So yeah, her explanation as to why she's in complete control of her character, and she's basically a better version of Bruce Banner's the Hulk.
Yeah.
Is because she's a woman and she's had to deal with her rage and emotions her entire life. Which I hate that. I hate that so much. And it's not comics accurate. People that are saying it's comics accurate, that's not the case. That's not. I do like the fact that she looks like an attractive woman and she's not some like buffed, roided out version of herself. Because like when they announced the She-Hulk, a lot of the real weird people on Twitter, I'm like,
a lot of fan edits. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the deal. There's this section of Twitter that you just want to stay away from. It's like, it's almost like this. There's a section of Reddit. There's a section of every popular website that you want to just sort of stay out of. And on Twitter, that has a lot to do with like these muscle-bound furries. And like, it gets weird, bro. It gets real weird. Like,
I've not. Wow.
It's not normal. I'm not. In no way am I downplaying someone's weird fetish. Look, I'm into green chicks. I get it. But someone like there's a tiny itty bitty percentage of like these people that really want to see some roided out furry chick on screen, and they were very vocal, and I'm very glad that Marvel looked into those accounts and said, oh, this accounts for 0.1%. We're not going to make her some roided out furry version of the Hulk.
Oh,
Thank God.
yeah. I don't think they were going to do that anyway. I think that would have been.
There's a lot of fandom where she's like all like super, buff and all that. So I like the fact that they made her comics accurate. When she transforms, she goes from like this little itty bitty girl, right? Into like, a much bigger, stronger, taller version.
Yeah.
But she is still an attractive, I guess, generally attractive aesthetically, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But like, she's good looking, and she's not some abomination. And that's not a pun, because like there was literally a part of the internet that wanted her to be like the abomination. So. She wants to leave. She fights with the Hulk. I didn't like that part. Like, we knew there was gonna be a Hulk fight between the Hulk and She-Hulk. But first off, it shouldn't have happened in the first episode, and she shouldn't have immediate control over her abilities. And like, she like figures out how to do like the clap like instantly. She's like, he claps, and she's like, oh, I can do that. She's like, oh, here we go, and then just starts clapping. I'm like, come on, bud. There's got to be a learning curve. You can't instantly be better at everything.
Yeah. No training, nothing whatsoever. No experience of. Yeah, like I think that's why, the Hulk movies are good, because they showed the negatives of being a Hulk as well as, not much of the positives. It's like turning into a monster,
Right.
And
yeah, you can hurt someone, who knows what happens to you. Yeah, it's almost like it's like Mr. Jekyll and Hyde, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
There is, there's dual personalities here, and one personality is required in some ways, and the other personality is required in other ways, and it it made sense. There's downsides to the Hulk's abilities, and he plays it up throughout the movies. He's like, look, at one point I tried to kill myself. And that was a very strong moment in the movies where it's like, I ate a bullet and the green guy spit it out. What a cool statement that was. Like, he was so over his, being the Hulk and his problems and all the stuff he faces that he tried to kill himself. That's incredible. This intelligent, brilliant man was willing to commit suicide because he felt he was too dangerous. And 20 years of him trying to control his abilities and come to terms with who he is and learn how to control the Hulk. And in one day, she's like, I got it. It's cool. And it's because I'm a chick. And that's dumb. Although she is very, very comics accurate. You're right, Dork Knight. She's very comics accurate. That's the good part.
What you just said.
I'm not going to get that again. No, you're right. You're right, Danny. All right. So going forward, quickly moving through it. I don't want to waste too much time here. She goes back to L.A. And she's in court. She's a brilliant lawyer, right? They make a point of saying how good of a lawyer she is. And she's giving her closing remarks, and some random super villain played by the chick from The Good Place. I'm always forgetting her name. Talia or whatever her name is. I love her. She comes in. She's mad about something, and so She-Hulk's got to Hulk out and save the day. And of course, she takes her shoes off, and then she steps back into them, and there you go. That's it. So, if I had to give this a rating, first off, it is not as bad as other Marvel, DC, Disney Plus shows are. I'm just being real. It's actually not bad. But there are parts of it that are very cringe. Like her ability to control her abilities instantaneously is just. There could have been a montage, bro. Like there could have been like, what if she goes to Mexico? Right. It could have been like 3 months later, 6 months later, whatever. You could have literally flashed text on the screen and made it look like she was actually like training with Bruce, and it would have been the same amount of time. The audience would not have cared whatsoever of not seeing that entire training montage, and it wouldn't have disrespected, in my opinion, it disrespects the Hulk, and the Hulk's already sort of disrespected in the fact that he can't get his own movie. The Hulk has a problem because the rights issues and all that. They're never going to make a Hulk TV show or Hulk movie. He's only ever going to be a part of other people's stuff. And then, to further disrespect that character, when all you need to do was flash some text on the screen. Like, literally. Like, if I re-edited this, I would just cut out one scene where they talk about when, specific dates, and I would fade out, be like 6 months later, and fade into a fighting sequence.
Yeah. The trailer looks like it was, I don't know how it was edited in the show, I haven't seen it yet, but in the trailer, it looked like it was like a passing of time.
Right. It was not.
During that segment, but now it's just a day?
It was like a day or two, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Also, the graphics, I know this has been said to death, but the graphics aren't good. It's just they're just not that good.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they're not good. Disney has a lot of money. Marvel has a lot of money. There is no reason why the graphics can't be better. And it's funny because when you look at the She-Hulk next to the Hulk, you're like, why? What is the problem here? Because something doesn't look right. And what it is like the Hulk's digital assets are clearly better. Like they're more defined. There's more quality. They're sharper. There's more features. The facial movements are better. Everything is better. And she looks like a video game from like 1998 or something. Maybe that's too rough. 2006. She looks like a character from like Mass Effect 2 or something. And I'm like tripping. I'm tripping out because they're in the same scene. Like you have this character in a scene with the Hulk, and they are so radically different in quality, radically different. And at no point does someone get to the end of this. No editor goes, "Hey, this doesn't look right." Right? Like no one is saying that. I had a conversation with Mike Mexican Iron Man last week, and we are under the impression that there's a lot of people in Hollywood that they don't want to stand out because they don't want to lose their jobs. So they sort of purposely take a back seat to bad ideas and just sort of like keep their head down and just sort of, stay in the groove. They don't want to stand out. They don't want to do anything bold. And it's weird how you can go through dozens, if not 50 or 60 people, and we can still get a product like, like the Sonic. Remember the Sonic, the first Sonic Hedgehog trailer?
Yeah, and they changed the character to make it look more like the...
Right. Now, listen, that was a great move by the studio. But the fact that first trailer even got out...
Yeah.
There's a systemic problem here, right? Like, the fact that 60-plus people worked on this trailer and it got to the internet like that. And no one, not a single person was like, hey, guys, what are we doing? Why does this abomination have teeth?
It's like, for that one, that was like the suits who didn't understand the character, didn't understand the fans, and they were just suits. Like, we got to make him look more human. That's the only way we can have people, and that's just the suits talking. But I'm glad that went out first and not the movie, I'm glad they actually did something about it because that needed to happen.
Oh, it really did. And to be fair, the movie was actually great. I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it a lot.
Liked the first one and the second one. Yeah, it was good.
The second one was not as good as the first one, but it was still fun.
The subplot didn't need that whole wedding thing.
It didn't. It was it's too much.
Cut that out, and then you got a good movie right there.
Yeah, I agree. So that was a good move. The studio go, oh, hey, we screwed up. The fans do not like this. Even like the creator was like, yeah, I don't like it either, guys. I don't know what to do.
Right.
But the fact that the creator of of the movie has to like lean on the fans, so that the fans lean on the studio to get his vision is it's just that's so backwards, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's so backwards. How does anyone expect? I mean, is it the studio is so concerned with not being successful that they get so involved that they're just like the actual creatives are taking a back seat, or like
it's the boards, man. It's like those CEOs, man. They're just suits. Like I said, like back in the day when they were talking about Superman, they're like, well, why does he need to fly? Why does he need a cape?
What?
Shit like that. It's like it's so ridiculous their thought process, bro. That's why you need creatives that have that executive stature, like a Kevin Feige, like that, because they understand the characters, they understand that, and they also understand the business side of things. They understand being an executive and the politics all behind it. Because if all you have are suits, man, we don't have these kind of movies that we have now. Like,
no, we don't. Yeah. In fact, I would argue that I don't think that the MCU happens if Disney gets too involved with Feige's decisions in the early part of that, in the early days of MCU.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it. We're done talking about She-Hulk. We're gonna move on from that. But let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. What did you guys think about She-Hulk, the first episode? You want to see more, or are you just over the MCU in general? And if that's the case, you've come to the right place, because we're talking about DC, baby. Next up on the list. Have you seen Superman and Lois at all?
Yes, I've caught up all the way season 2. Yep.
All right.
I'd say it's a pretty good show. I mean,
hold on one second. Let me do the intro real quick.
Oh yeah, sure.
I want to hear your thoughts, but I want them on camera here. We are talking about Superman and Lois, season 1, 2, and now 3. And I'm here with Ping Pong FLIX himself. What do you think about Superman and Lois, Chris?
I'd say it's probably one of the better CW DC shows out there. Not knocking all you CW fans, but their Arrowverse kind of stops for me after like a few seasons of Flash.
Yeah.
Maybe one season
I'm
of
sorry.
Supergirl.
Chris, you didn't like that scene when she's like, no, Barry, no.
No.
we are the Flash.
It's so... that show needed to end seasons ago.
Season 4, I would say.
Ago, yeah. It really just drawn out at that point.
You know what's funny is like our channel used to be basically 3 things. We covered Survivor, America's Got Talent, and The Flash. And we slowly started moving away from all of that stuff. And there was at one point where we weren't covering Survivor or America's Got Talent anymore.
Yeah.
Because it got ridiculous and just like so bloated.
Yeah.
And we were only covering The Flash. And there was this moment, I remember it like clear as day. I'm watching the series over here. Shane's watching it in his house, my brother. And we're both watching it at the same time live. And then there's that moment where she's like, no, Barry, no. We are the Flash. Now run, Barry, run.
Yeah.
And I'm picking up my phone to call Shane, and he calls me, and he's like, I don't want to cover this show anymore. Like, I don't want to do this.
We're done.
Make this the last episode. And that was the last episode we ever talked about. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, neither do I. I hate it so much. I hate Iris's character, not the actress, the character so much.
Yeah.
It's making me literally hate like the actress. Like I'm starting to take the actress and the character and sort of superimpose it. I'm like, I gotta stop. Like I hate this character so much. Like if you are making this character into like some mastermind villain, you're doing a great job.
That'd be a twist, right?
Imagine that.
Last season, she's the villain the whole time.
Right? Yes, you're right. Like the CW shows, they got a little rough, but Superman and Lois and Stargirl are pretty good. And I really enjoyed the first season of Superman and Lois and the second season, most of the first season. So what's your thoughts on like where the show, before we get into this news, where the show is at? Like, can it go the distance or is it winding down?
I feel like it's kind of winding down because they went through some big moves the first 2 seasons. I mean, the first season, he's saving the Earth from his own
Right.
brother. So, and then now that kind of turned around. I kind of like the brother's character now that he's kind of like a good uncle, or buying his nephew's trucks and stuff like that.
Right.
But like the second one, it was like merging worlds, and I know a lot of people give a lot of gripe about Superman stuff, but I'm like saying this is a Superman that he's like over 40 years old. He's got kids, he's got a family. It's a different time. This is not the beginning Superman. This is not even the middle. This is like after he's done all that, and then he's trying to raise a family. And so that's why I kind of connect with him, because I am 40 years old. So I have,
same.
I have 3 kids. And I'm just like, I get it, man. You're trying to do work life and you got your other life.
Dude, you just hit it right on the head, because I'm also 40 years old with 2 kids, also twins, right? And like, I'm in the same boat. Like, when I watch that show, I feel like in some ways I identify with Superman, which is so wild.
Yeah.
It's
That's hard to do.
It's hard. Yeah. You're identifying with like a god, because even though he has godlike powers, he is dealing with some of the same exact problems that we deal with. It's crazy. Yeah. The show is really written well, and you're totally right. You hit it right on the head. This is not Superman and Lois from the Daily Planet Superman. This is not Smallville Superman. This is not even Superman from the comics. Really, this is older. I know the actor doesn't look very old. That's one thing that's thrown a lot of people off. But this is older Superman, married, kids, on a farm. He's trying to retire. He's trying to do just enough to keep the world, not on fire.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's definitely something that could still go on. I don't see it actually really, now that I think about it, I don't think it actually could slow down, because they can go into directions that we've never seen before with that respect. Now, I believe
that was sort of the answer I was looking for, because I wanted to segue into why I think that this is a problem. So what we have here is the character of Jonathan Kent is going to be recast, because the actor, whose name is Jordan Elsass.
I don't know how to say his last name. Yeah. Elsass? I don't know.
Elsass. He is exiting Superman right before season 3, so he's not going to be part of season 3. Now, here is the problem. They said that he's leaving for personal reasons, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, it looks like... let me preface this with, I don't care where you guys fall politically. I don't care if you care about taking the vaccine or not. I don't care about any of that stuff. Whatever your personal opinions and all that, that's yours. Like, I'm here to talk about entertainment, and I don't care about politics. And I believe that what we're seeing here is we're seeing Jordan Elsass, this dude from Texas who's very anti-vaccine. He was respectful about it, and I'll play that clip. But he's very anti-vaccine. Didn't want to wear a mask very much. He has all of his opinions are very much right-leaning, right? Also, when they introduced the idea that Jonathan Kent in the comic books was gay or bisexual, he was very clear. He was very clear that he would not, that his character would not be following that route, and he wasn't comfortable with kissing other men, right? And people dragged this dude on Twitter, like they really gave him a hard time. So I remember watching all that go down like a few months ago and thinking, oh, well, there's guaranteed that this dude isn't going to be a part of the show very much longer, because like Hollywood very much depends on what Twitter thinks for everything, apparently. And in this, so it's personal reasons. And he had this Instagram post where he's like, guys, my mental health is not great. I need to get away for a few weeks. But he said a few weeks at the end of shooting season 2. And you're telling me that he's not going to be, he's not going to be ready because of his mental health in 6 months? That makes no sense. What makes a little more sense to me is more than likely he didn't want to get the vaccine. So, a lot of like the health, the stuff they got to deal with in the industry, wasn't gonna work. He had some kind of like medical what's it called? Some kind of like doctor's note on why you couldn't get the vaccine.
Okay.
But he also didn't want to go through the checks. He didn't want to wear the mask. He was difficult in that regard, and because they're hyper concerned about coof. I don't want to say the actual word because I don't want this video to be removed. Because they're hyper concerned about the coof. It was hard to work with this dude. And then I'm almost certain that his comments about not wanting to kiss other men probably didn't help his cause. So I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to get your opinion, okay? I found this actual video. It was removed. But thanks to Tumblr, yes, Tumblr still exists, everyone. Thanks to Tumblr, I found this this video someone saved from Instagram. Let me just set this up real quick. Okay, here we go.
Obviously, there's a lot of protests going on for vaccine mandates here in Canada, as well as just in general all the COVID-19 restrictions that are very, very stringent up here. And something I've seen that kind of cracks me up is these counter protests. Like, imagine if I was just like, guys, there's a Black Lives Matter protest. We gotta go. Those people are
that face he made is my exact face when I ever hear about people protesting.
We gotta go raise some signs saying that all lives matter, and it's a counter protest. No, bro. No, you don't do that.
I'm gonna pause this real quick. But like that face he made where he's like, every time I hear about someone like, we're gonna go protest on Tuesday at 11 a.m. I'm like, does no one have jobs? How can everyone just like
leave work?
Yeah, they can take like weeks off to protest some like innocuous thing that's not going to actually affect them. That the exact face he gave is my exact face every time I hear that.
All right, now look, I'm not saying you can't do that. You can do whatever the hell you want. There are people that did that, I'm sure. And it's just I'm just using that as an example. But like, why? Like, what is compelling you to... It's just disappointing to see these people, going, "Oh, you're an idiot." On both sides. I mean, there are people on both sides that are being really.
You can't say that, bro.
And it's just completely unnecessary.
This dude's like 20 years old.
Clearly vaccinated.
Or just checked his age.
He's 20?
It's not
He's
doing
20.
much of anything.
Yeah, so
at this point,
so
you can argue
20-year-olds are gonna say dumb stuff sometimes, right?
COVID, whatever you want to say, whatever helps you sleep at night. But
a lot of times, like kids, they always think about it's always about emotions first,
right?
Before your your head. you think with the heart,
right?
And not necessarily those are the smartest decisions, to be honest.
Right. Now, listen, so regardless of his opinions, first off, he definitely shouldn't be removed or even encouraged to leave because his opinions differ from other opinions of people on the set. That's wrong. The idea that we are going to hire and fire someone based on their opinions of a pandemic or a vaccine or a political affiliation is just ridiculous. Like, that is not how the world works, guys. So just to be clear, before we get into the rest of the story, it is really dumb that we have gone this route of tribalism. Because we are literally, and I don't want to be conspiratorial here, but we are playing into the powers that be's hands. Like, they want you to be mad at this other person because their opinions don't match yours. Because as long as you are fighting with your neighbor, then they can steal all your stuff. This is how it works. So firing someone or hiring someone based on their opinions outside the workplace on vaccines or political stuff or presidents or whatever is stupid. First off, what happened to us not talking about that in the workplace? I remember there was when I worked like a regular job, I remember they're like, don't talk about politics here. Like I remember David Chappelle making a joke about it. where like he would ask one of his white friends what he was voting for, and they're like, "Yo, Dave, come on, man, what are you doing? What are you doing?" Because it was like this sort of this like rule that like we just didn't talk about
Unspoken
politics.
rule.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unspoken rule. Don't talk about things that are gonna like upset people or whatever, or even like it's a workplace. We are not here to discuss politics
Or religion. Sometimes that
religion.
even- that-
Yes.
Yeah.
Or religion or vaccine mandates or whatever. Like you can disagree and you can have those conversations outside the workplace, but hiring and firing someone based on their opinions is dumb. Now, if the guy could be a monster. I don't know him. He can be like a total homophobic, douchebag. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But if he doesn't want to, if he doesn't want to kiss another man, and that wasn't a part of his character before, maybe don't make him do that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand why. Like, that's a requirement. I remember back in the day when if actors didn't want to make out with an actress, they figured it out. But I don't know. So,
well, I don't think this is nothing really new. Actors and actresses they come and go depending on what they want and not want, and especially in a movie, you're signed up. You know exactly where you're getting into, right? But TV series characters evolve and change, and so are the opinions of the actors, and so they would leave. So officially, all it says is that he just never showed up. And then he gave his personal reasons. Well, he had no reasons actually. He just said personal. It was something personal, so we don't really know what that is. But I guess
he deleted the post that he first
kind
talked
of.
about it.
Oh, he did. Okay,
Yeah.
So you could kind of guess like what's going on with that. But he was a great character on the show. Didn't look like he was going a way of because he had a girlfriend in the show.
Right.
He was getting into superpowers, like he was getting into.
Yeah, he was getting powers, right?
Yeah.
So why did he post all that stuff like at the end of season 2? He was posting about how, like, so I don't know exactly what happened, but I assume that he must have seen like a script or something, or something must have been said to him about the direction of the character that sort of set him off on Instagram.
Could be, yeah. Are they still? Is Hollywood still doing the vaccine things? Like they're still wearing masks?
So not in Hollywood
on sets?
per se,
Yeah.
but in Canada they are, and that's where they're filming.
Oh, that's where they're filming. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
So Canada is like, if you think the U.S.'s response to the coof and vaccines and all that was like sort of extreme, you don't know nothing. You check out Canada. It's nuts. You're talking about like people get vaccine boosted, double tested. It's gnarly up there. So I guess their restrictions up there made it harder for them because of him. So
yeah.
So that's I think that the show might be winding down though, because what happens 99% of the time when you recast someone on a TV show? Does that TV show continue on for multiple seasons, or it usually starts to fizzle out pretty quick, right?
It's hard. I mean, you have to reconnect back with another Jonathan. It's like,
right.
You got to okay, I'm kind of confused right at the moment. Like, who's this kid?
Right.
That's right. And all those seasons you've watched him in, and you're like, I can't get it. It depends. I mean, the third season's gonna be rough, but if there's nothing after that, then I don't know. It's kind of might not work out. Especially when we're hearing that they're constantly canceling these HBO Max and CW shows.
Right. Not a
You're
good
wondering.
time. Yeah, not a good time for him to split, right? Interesting. Yeah, this reminds me of a show. There's a Tim Allen show on what was it called?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
I forgot what it's called. His daughters, and the first daughter changed from the.
Yeah. So it was called. I'm gonna have to look it up right now.
That's a good show. I like that show.
The great show.
It's a funny show.
Last Man Standing.
Last Man Standing. Yes.
Great show. Now here's what's weird about this show. It's so weird. So originally the cast was. Here we go. Oh no, that's
the new daughter.
That's the
already.
new daughter. Where's the original daughter? Here we go. Okay.
Right. Yep.
This is pretty much right. I think this is a weird fan edit thing. Okay, so this is the original daughter. So actually, the way it started at first, there was the very first 2 episodes, there was a different daughter here. And that was like the pilot episodes.
Yeah.
So in the pilot episodes, they had a different actress. And she was actually, I would argue, better than this actress. But she couldn't stay on the show, so they replaced her, and they replaced her with this character. And for 5 seasons, though, I'm not going to say that the star of the show was Tim Allen, but the secondary star was definitely this Mandy character. She was an amazing character.
She was, yeah, and they changed her.
She stole the show.
Too,
and when they moved networks, they changed her to this actress here.
And she's not that good.
No, she's not that great.
Great.
No offense to her, but she lacks charisma. She doesn't have the same personality. She's a blonde. For the love of God, she's blonde.
Right.
Like, you didn't even try to get someone that looked similar to that character.
They're like, girl, go ahead.
Right. And then to make it worse, because this character changed so much, they started really featuring the older sister, who is a nut job in real life. She is nuts.
She's nuts in real life?
Oh, she is nutty, and she had like a lot of control. Like when she re-signed her things, she got more control over her character, and she really dragged it into the ground. And this whole show started to fall apart, not after the pilot recasting, because that's fine, but after you've already connected to this character. You had already connected to this character. You already knew the dynamic between the family. See, the father wasn't just some dude that the family kicked around like a typical sitcom. He was a respected member of his family, his community, and his workplace. Yeah. And he dealt with these family issues. He had like right-leaning ideas, and he dealt with a bunch of left-leaning people at work. And there was a nice balance of politics in this show where it showed both sides, and both personalities and characters learned things. And then you changed the actor, the actress, and the character, and everything was out of whack. Everything.
Yeah.
His character
went weird. Yeah.
His character went from like respected to disrespected instantly. It turned into a sitcom, all with a laugh track and everything. And this chick went nuts. She was like, just went hyper liberal all of a sudden. Her wife went, all the characters went hyper liberal all of a sudden, and the show just fell apart, dude. And why is
her husband was kind of liberal?
So her husband was the token liberal, though. Like that was his personality, though, right? The point
that was his thing, his shtick.
Right. The point of that character was to be the antithesis to the Tim Allen character. So like he was very right wing, guns and hunting, and this guy was like, I'm a vegan and I voted for Barack Obama, right? Yeah. That was the joke. Like this right wing guy's daughter was marrying this like sort of deadbeat dad liberal guy that learned to be a very good father over time and got his act together, and you fell in love with his character even with his politics. It didn't matter, because remember, politics is one part of a person's personality. There's a whole other person there that you can enjoy outside their political beliefs, even if they're nuts. This character was a very good example of, and both these characters were good examples of people that with extremely different political beliefs can still coexist and even grow together. Yeah. But the second they recast it, it went all downhill. So why is it? Is that the chemistry?
It's the chemistry, and just like for me, when she came up on screen, because it literally was like one up, right after, right?
Yeah, there wasn't even like a time. Yeah, it was.
There's literally no way to like get used to it. They're like, who the heck is this?
Yeah,
they just came out of nowhere.
In one scene, she went down into her basement like little warehouse, and in the following season, she comes out as this character, as this actress.
Right, like it's just. And if you think about the timeline, that's literally like the next day or something. Like
right.
It's so it. See, when it comes like that, just like the Jonathan situation, you get multiple seasons of, like you said, you know this character, you respect the character, you see how, and you're used to it. And then once they change it like that, it's just too abrupt. It's not like Rhodey in Iron Man. At least he was only in one movie. Imagine if they changed Rhodey 3 movies, or Civil War, or even an Endgame or something. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, and
so
that was actually a little bit jarring, but it wasn't as bad as it would have been had he been ingrained, right?
Yeah.
You're totally right. Yeah. I remember that, like, thinking, I really like Terrence Howard. Like, nothing's wrong with Terrence Howard. But then if you're gonna change a character, talk about an upgrade. Like, just John Cheadle. Okay.
John Cheadle, good.
We're not getting a no name. Like, you're giving us definitely like an acclaimed actor that actually in real life knows Robert Downey Jr. and is friendly with him, and that just added to their chemistry, because Terrence Howard and Robert Downey Jr. their chemistry sort of sucked, even though Terrence Howard's a good actor.
And Don Cheadle and Robert, they had a better chemistry. You can tell they had that together, But so I don't know how good Superman and Lois is going to go. I feel like this may be the last season. You never know. I mean, how not only that, but just the way the studio's going. I just feel like they're trying to get that single universe. They're trying to be the first 10 years of Marvel.
Which makes sense, right? It makes sense. Like, why wouldn't you? Okay, why wouldn't you want to emulate success? So here's a little for everyone out there that's trying to do their own thing. If you're running your own business, you have an Etsy store, or maybe you're trying a YouTube channel. Whatever you're trying to do, if you're trying to do your own thing, you're not trying to work for someone. Let me give you advice that I wish someone would have given me when I was 20. Do your own thing, but look at the people around you that are already successful and emulate them. Don't like steal their ideas, but like if they're going to this this convention for computer parts or whatever, like, you should go there too and find out what are they doing that is so successful. If you guys are trying to do the same thing, if you are trying to start a YouTube channel, look at other YouTube channels and go, what are they success? What's making them successful? Is it when they're posting, how they're posting, like, whatever it is, you can emulate that success with your own thing. And it's so arrogant that Warner Brothers for so long was like, we don't have to be Marvel, we could do our own thing. And of course you don't have to be Marvel, but this is, first off, it's not a new thing that you stay in one universe and make a franchise. Like, Marvel didn't invent that; they just perfected it. So that's not really a Marvel thing. Yeah. So, like, the fact that they were so arrogantly not wanting to be Marvel, that they went way out of their way to be a worse version, it's just silly. It's just silly. It's okay to emulate people that have come before you that are doing it right. It's you do your own thing, but you can take some of the ideas and run with it. Like having a character from movie to movie be the same character. I don't know. I loved the Batman, and I loved the Justice League. I love all the different Batman movies, but for the love of God, just find one Batman, please. For a while, you need to have one Batman that we can all, one Iron Man, right? Like, is there any other Iron Man other than Robert Downey Jr.? Not to me. No. Okay, so how many Batmans are there though? 13?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, there's 3 right now.
There's no identity.
Yeah, there's no single. That's why I like that idea of that single universe. I think we need to get back to those basics of just getting something that is just strong, Yeah. Stop. Like, I feel like the old Warner Bros. Regime, they're trying to do the whole multiverse idea, which is really early.
Too early
compared to because you can't just okay, Marvel did this for 10 years and now we're getting to the multiverse. Okay, we just skipped all that.
We skipped a lot of steps, guys.
And then we're getting into multiverse. But for them, I felt is like a Suits, just saying, let's do multiverse. That way we can capitalize on all these different characters in different universes, and not exactly in a plan that like a story plan.
Right.
You know, we need it to work as a story, not as a to capitalize on. I mean, Marvel is capitalizing on it, but they're working it in as a story.
Right.
It makes sense for the
Friggin'
most part,
suits.
you know. So, but
yeah, and Marvel's working it in after years, like already doing like the big storylines. Now they're introducing the multiverse. And you know what? That's just like the comic books. Like when you run out of big stories to tell in your universe, you got to sort of like up the ante, you know?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Which I hate. I don't care for any of that stuff personally, but you know, it's the right way to go. And in the comic books, they usually use the whole multiverse thing as a way of sort of restarting the system. Mm-hmm. And as time goes on, these comic book stories get so convoluted and so crazy that like there's like 15 versions of this character, and there's a Galactus, and he's eating planets, and he's
like where do you start if you haven't read for a long time? Where do you know? It's just so much.
Right. And so what do? They go, let's have this big infinite crisis or this big multiverse thing where we like the whole multiverse is at risk, and we have this big epic storyline where we close it, where we like close the system and we reboot it in canon, called the New 52, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they reboot it in canon so that those things all happen. But now, this new Iron Man is like a chick, or she's Penny, or whatever. And you can change the character up, or you don't. Or if characters were so good on their own, you leave them be and you just sort of restart them. And you can do that in canon so that what you did before happened, but now we're in a new universe that's been freshly created or whatever. They've done that a bunch, you guys. They've done that a lot. So they're doing that in the movies now too.
Yeah.
It's just sort of cheap to me, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what we think. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Hit that comment section on the way down there. Hit the subscribe button and all the other buttons. Thank you so much. We'll see you the next time. All right, moving on. I'm sorry. I just saw the time, so like all of a sudden I wanted to move on to the next topic.
Oh, no problem.
I didn't realize it was happening so quick. Jesus, it's only 3:17. Okay, so everybody, we are going to save. We're gonna save the Strange New Worlds pitch and the Addams Family for the members section. So we have two options, and I'm gonna give it to you, Mike. You want to talk about Dwayne Johnson's DC MCU crossover, or the different projects that are being canceled or renewed at WB?
Oh man, both are really good. Let's talk about Black Adam, maybe.
Okay. All right, so we'll talk about that here, then we'll move to the members section. Okie dokie. We are talking about Black Adam, aka The Rock, aka Dwayne Johnson, aka the black-tided Wonder Twin. The man, the myth, the legend, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Do you smell? I can't even do it. Because he said something very interesting, and I gotta say, this guy is all in on DC, bro. It is crazy. This guy is like, I'm all in, dude. It's almost
Major
like he just discovered DC Comics, and he's like, you know, he's like this jock that like used to make fun of all the DC comic nerds, and then he read an issue. He's like, oh my god, I love this so much.
I can get in on this. Yeah.
So just like fans have been discussing for 50 plus years, he is now discussing the inevitable DCEU MCU crossover, which, before we read this article, let's be clear, is never going to happen. Maybe it happens when I'm dead and Disney has bought Warner Media and Discovery, and it's like the year 2310.
Yeah,
right. It ain't gonna happen in my lifetime. I guarantee you that. Like, Marvel had to jump through hoops just to use their own character because at one point they accidentally leased them to Sony, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So the odds of this happening outside of fan fiction is extremely unlikely. However, there was a comic book where they crossed over in the X-Men universe. Remember that?
Yep. Yep.
So you want to walk me through this? What do you think about this?
So you're right. It's going to be extremely slim. Like I've mentioned one before that if this were to ever happen, this means that either DC or Marvel has exhausted everything they can think of to get fans in the seats, and they need that giant Freddy versus Jason, Godzilla versus Kong, whatever, just to get people back in excited for superheroes again. That would be like the only, and I don't think that's happening anytime soon. As you see, there's a lot of Marvel well to dig into. DC is pretty much kind of like soft rebooting or starting up something again.
Right.
There's a new idea here, and so in order for that to happen, like you said, it's got to be something really major, drastic that happens. So
it's got to be like, okay, no one's watching superhero movies anymore.
Yeah.
It's got to be something like that. Like
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
in order for two studios to let's work together, but that's even hard budgeting wise, and who's paying for what. Like it's going to be
right. Right, yeah.
Logistics is kind of even, it's impossible.
Do they just we'll share the budget 50-50, share the profit 50-50? That's not how it's ever going to go down.
Like, will Star Trek ever see Star Wars? Like that's the kind of, that's never going to happen.
Right. There was this one scene in I think it was like Star Trek First Contact. Where in the background you can see the general shape of the Millennium Falcon flying through the debris, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's the crossover." No, it was the VFX guys that thought it would be funny to insert this little Easter egg in there. But it was never an official connection. Yes, Star Wars and Star Trek is never crossing over. Never gonna happen. Never. And the idea of this ever happening is so slim. It would have to be years of no one caring about anything superhero related, and this is like their last ditch effort to drag some life out of DC and Marvel.
Yeah, I agree.
And think about this: who's making the money from this? Like Disney's gonna be like, oh yeah, we're gonna share 50-50. No, 25 years of success. Compared to
that. Yeah. I was like, we need Iron Man to be more percentage than Batman in that scene. I don't know the logistics of
right. Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. Batman and Iron Man. Batman can't lose to Iron Man. Thank you very much. Yeah. You already have these actors that refuse to lose to a fight. They literally have it in their contracts. I don't know if have you seen Fast and Furious franchise? Okay. Remember that? Yeah. I don't know what movie it was, but they were in Dubai and she was fighting Ronda
Rousey. Yeah.
Well, it was in her contract that she couldn't lose the fight.
Yeah.
And it also was in Letty's contract that she couldn't lose a fight.
She couldn't lose a fight. Yeah.
So they literally had in their contracts that they couldn't lose a fight, and they were fighting.
Right.
Oh my God! How stupid is that?
It's it's a tie.
Everything's a tie. Yeah. Same with Jason Statham and The Rock. He was like, "Well, I can't lose." And neither can I. All right. Well, let's always tie, I guess. And
that's when it comes to when I'm excited to see Dwayne The Rock Johnson Black Adam movie. I think it looks fun. It's gonna be a big, huge, hopefully. And I want to see him fight Superman because I love Superman.
Oh,
He's
same
my boy.
here. Same.
And I want to see all that. But then there's a little bit of concern, like you said, I want to be a part of it, not be a part of DC universe, but I just want to be the center of it. And I have a little concern because I know he's a hero here and there in the comics and stuff like that. But for the most part, he wants to fight the Justice League, right? And I'm all for that. So I'm wondering, maybe in this sense of the word, are you trying to be the Thanos of a certain era? This is the Black Adam era. Everybody's gonna fight me and stuff like that. But so that's where my concern is when
that'd be awesome. Thanos was such a complex, honestly, sort of underrated, in how many dimensions that character had. First off, I don't want to get too much into this. I've said it before, but listen, like Thanos actually wasn't really the bad guy here.
No.
Like if you,
I agree with Thanos.
like he wasn't the bad guy. In fact, Thanos, I would argue, was the good guy. And we only saw the perspective of the Avengers and their very limited understanding on how the universe works.
Yeah.
So they were fighting to like keep the status quo. But if you consider the entire canon, he was actually trying to stop the Eternals from and the Eternals, what are they called? Whatever, the Celestials from being born.
The Celestials from
So think about this. What actually killed Thanos' planet was not like climate change or like technology. No. If you look at Titan, a Celestial was born and it wrecked his planet and killed his people. And then he went on this personal mission to go from planet to planet, not knowing where the Celestials actually were, and to kill half the population, not based on race or gender or wealth or class or anything. A true random culling of half the population of every planet. Why was he doing that? He loved killing people? No. Because when the population of a planet gets to a certain size, the Celestial is born. He was trying to save the other half.
The other half, yeah.
Like, does anyone... I'm not the only person here that realizes that he was the good guy here, right? I understand he did bad things, but guys, sometimes good guys have to do bad things for good reasons. And
he was looking at a whole. Everybody's looking so narrow-minded. He was like, the universe needed this.
The universe.
And you know what? It's funny because when the Eternals came out, I think I tweeted out and I said Thanos was right, and I think people are like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, no, exactly your reason. Like, dude.
Right.
So I actually want to see the consequences later down the road of like maybe we should have let Thanos done something or something.
Right. It's crazy. Like I think a lot of people aren't fully understanding how great that character was. Like probably one of the greatest villains in like movie history. He was so well executed that movies that came after his death and outside of his existence are still making him better to this day.
Yeah.
So if Black Adam wants to do the same thing, if he wants to become this character that is like, good or bad or not or whatever, he's like sort of like this neutral, chaotic neutral, right?
Yeah.
And he changes his stance based on how he feels. I think that would be an amazing thing, especially if you did it better than Marvel did, because I think Marvel made the mistake of painting Thanos as this one-dimensional bad guy, when in reality, on the deeper level, he was really had a lot of dimensions to him. There was so much more going on.
Yeah.
And I think Brolin did a great job. Like when he had to kill Gamora to get the stone.
Oh,
he was like
that conflict. You can tell. Yeah.
Oh, he genuinely thought about just stopping the mission.
Yeah.
Like his life's work for the sake of his daughter, who truly didn't understand her father.
Yeah.
Like, man, it was just so powerful. Like Thanos is an outstanding character, and it's so much better than most people know.
Yeah.
So I would love it if Black Adam did the same thing. And honestly, as much as I talk trash about Fast and Furious or whatever, I love The Rock. And I honestly love the Fast and Furious movies. Like, they're stupid, fun entertainment, and I love it so much.
It does kind of miss his charisma. I feel
it
like
really does, bro. Yeah. It really misses The Rock. The Rock has a lot of charisma. He is like franchise Viagra. And if I had to pick one person in my entire 40 years of existence to play Black Adam, it would be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh my God, he's been casted forever. I mean, he was cast before Man of Steel, I think. Like, it was like he's been trying to get to this level, so it's going to be amazing finally seeing him on the screen. Yeah,
it's going to be amazing. And I want everyone to know, it comes out on my birthday.
It does.
Literally on my birthday.
That's cool.
And my wife spent a ridiculous amount of money renting out an entire theater.
What?
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep, which I'm sure that credit card bill is going to be really painful. So.
Yeah, but damn, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I have been looking
That's a
forward.
keeper.
I've been looking forward to this movie for a long time. I can't wait. I really hope it's good, man, because if it's good, that means that we can get the DC universe back on track. And I love the DC universe. I talk about Marvel, but I love DC way more than Marvel. I always have. Superman's one of my favorite characters. The Flash is one of my favorite characters. If you look at my office, you can't see it, but in my office I have like Superman, the Flash, Superman, Batman.
Cool.
I love DC characters, and I feel like what they've done for years is really misuse the characters. And the very first glimmer of hope for me was Man of Steel with Henry Cavill, and I was like, oh my god, like this is an outstanding Superman, like an outstanding story. It was incredible.
That's why I hope there's after this, hopefully Dwayne the Rock can get him back, and he has his solo film right out the gate. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but like another Man of Steel would be fire, man. That would be.
It would be, and doesn't and last time I checked, Henry Cavill and Dwayne Johnson. Henry Cavill is, and the right word is not owned, but like I guess Dwayne Johnson's production company.
They have the same rep.
They have the same rep, right? So Seven Buck Productions is like reps both of them, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Danny Garcia, who's his ex-wife, but the Garcia, she's his rep, and also the Henry Cavill's rep. So you think it'd be easy, but I don't know.
You think it'd be easy?
Yeah. But I mean, if it works out, man, I can see Black Adam getting a little bit more say in the DCU, and if it turns out like a Thanos, that would be pretty awesome, just to have be that ending scene guy. Like if another Superman movie comes out, you just call it Superman. No need the Superman, no, just Superman. And at the end credit scene, they hint at Black Adam. The next movie, they got Wonder Woman. At the end scene, they hint at Black Adam.
Yeah.
We keep hinting at Black Adam, slowly building up, and then we get that eventual, we need to fight Black Adam or something.
Right. So,
But Black Adam's not villain. He's like, I was protecting conduct, and now I'm out here, and I feel like the world is wrong.
Right.
There's something about the world, and I need to fix it. And they're like, so I hope there is that conflict. I know that's my dream, but
I forgot to actually read what he said here about this. I got so excited about talking about Black Adam that I forgot what he said.
Oh,
so in a recent interview with Games Radar, Johnson discusses the possibility of a crossover between the cinema's two competing universes. In The Rock's mind, the DCU's pantheon of characters is destined to cross paths with those in the MCU. This is what The Rock said. I was about to do his voice. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to I am optimistic. Just my nature is optimistic. And especially when it comes to the creative. Especially when it comes to movies. And especially when it comes to the pantheon of DC superheroes and supervillains. Across the street, we have the pantheon of superheroes and supervillains of Marvel. To me, they can only exist. But they should, in my mind, cross paths one day. So, just to be clear, that is not a statement of any weight whatsoever. That is just an ultra optimistic hype man talking about, yeah, why not? That might be fun.
Yeah.
So like all the people with all the many articles that came out about this, they just really like
blown out proportions.
The headlines, yeah. And to be fair, we're doing this. I'm doing the same thing. Like this is gonna be a clip, okay? I get it, but there's nothing really there,
Yeah. James Gunn said there's something about similar. I think they asked James Gunn, "Hey, would you want to be the Marvel DC crossover?" He's like, "Well, never say never, but
right?
But
right, yeah. All right. Well, what do you guys think about this? Are you excited for Black Adam? Are you gonna go watch it in theaters? Are you stoked on the new path that DC has, or are you just overall superhero crap? Let us know in the comment section below, and on the way down there, hit all the buttons. Moving on. Okay, my friends, this is the pivotal time that we move into the members section. In the members section, we will be talking about the DC and movies that are safe from the Marvel's cancellation acts, the pitch that kicked off Strange New Worlds over at Paramount, and we're going to be looking at the trailer for the Addams Family. In fact, I really wanted to save that for the members section because I didn't want to be copyright claimed here. So if you are not a member, it's very simple. It's quite simple. You can go to popcast.co/join or hit the link in the description below. Or I'm going to go ahead and paste this in the chat so everyone can see it. Boom. That's where we're going to be going. We're going to go over to the members section. Some of you guys are already coming over. Thank you so much. If you're not a member, that's cool too. These links will be up at some point next week, but you can see them now and hang out with us at the members section. And if you do, I appreciate your support. If not, that's it. Have a great day. We'll see you in the members section. The water's real warm because Chris is peeing in the pool. All right, here we go. There's like no way for me to gracefully exit the regular stream. So I always say some awkward stuff about peeing in the pool or something, you know?
Yeah.
And my brother's always like, can you stop talking about peeing in the pool?
Not the beautiful.
Like, I legitimately don't know what else to say, Shane. I don't know how do I like tell everybody, we're going to the other section. Oh, bye.
Yeah. Hold on.
So,
You catch them there. You just surprise them. That shock factor just makes it go, what? And then it's already
like,
on there.
all right, see you in the members. Say goodbye. Just click.